It says there's an error.
Really?
No, now I have it. All right.
Oh, sorry. It's Word Live. That's sorry.
You asked for it, you get it. Ryu and I will rip your photos into smithereens. Hold on to your headphones. Here comes the pain.
The enthusiasm is always going to be there, even if after like I fucked it up. What happened is that like we were actually recording. Thank God it was the first one, not like the 15th one. And I really just fucked it up. So we had to re-record, start thing from scratch. And we're having such a good time of actually bashing Toyn's photo, but we'll have to make it a very short one for this one. I just wanted to say like thank you very much for all the people who supported my Kickstarter campaign. I was told by Matt Cohen that he did, but I didn't actually get the memo that he did. So I like to just say it again because I already said in the last failed recording. Thank you, Matt Cohen, and to his lovely wife and the two cats, who are probably more famous than any of us here, for contributing to No Hands 2. If you want more information on it, please go to nohands2.com or go to Kickstarter and type in No Hands, and you're going to be able to actually see my project on the World Cup 2018 in the lovely, lovely, lovely Russia. So without further ado, we are going back to Towen's critique of his photo, and in 3 sentences, Matt Cohen.
Man. I just went 5 minutes on this.
You did.
There's no context. It's a picture of a guy in a shirt. It's half of a logo, and the logo isn't universal. It's not the Olympics. It's not FIFA. It's not Coca-Cola. You know, like a lot of people, most people wouldn't know if you spotted them the E and the SPO what it was, right? So this is a depth of field experiment that you would do like when you got a new lens or something, but that's it. There's nothing else. Like if somebody sent you to this and said, bring me 30 pictures or bring me 50 pictures that tell the story of this game, this isn't one of them. So there's no commercial value because EA can't even see their whole logo. There's no action. There's no sporting. You know, the only thing sporting in here is the first 3 letters of the word. So I don't know. We were just talking the last time that Toyin is one of the people who actually does try different things. You know, like if you go back and look through the training grounds, he's always trying something else. And the problem that, as I see it, is that he's not shy. He keeps coming back, which is great. He keeps trying different things, which is great. But the disconnect seems to be reincorporating what we say based on what we see from these pictures and Toyin's point of view, you know, being there, knowing what's going on, knowing that it's his responsibility to tell the story. So I want you to think a little bit deeper about when you're doing these things, it's not enough just to do something different. There does have to be a payoff to it, right? So you can do something interesting. I do it all the time, make interesting pictures all the time that ultimately don't pay off because either, you know, safety concerns had me too far away or the light was against me or something like that. It, you know, I'm still going to try all those things, but I'm definitely not going to, you know, accept something like this for when there's no context to it, when it doesn't tell the story, when it doesn't, you know, shed any light on the situation. It's just a guy in a shirt.
That I'm going to move on. And now it's a guy with a baton. For those of you who aren't aware of what's going on, in some European football matches, we're going to have like this guy who stands on the sideline and he's supposed to basically say if it was a goal or not. So basically, if the ball crossed the line, really, like you need a fucking human being to do this. You just see it on video. But I think the UEFA and the FIFA, I think their reasoning is that not all, you know, stadiums can afford to have that kind of technology, which is fucking bullshit or whatever. I think it's the same thing, what Matt said in the previous photo. Like, you don't know what the fuck's going on. Like, you just don't. And that's
like this is a little bit more, right?
I don't know, but like for someone who doesn't know what's going on, I don't really think.
This doesn't tell the story. All of the things that I said about the previous picture apply here. Just, you know, like 85% as much as they did on the other one. The other one was 100. This is 85, right? there's a tiny little bit more context. There's a green field, and you can see the beginnings of the yellow flag, right? So if you're doing this, the handle is important, but the flag is what tells you what it is. The handle of the thing doesn't tell you what it is. The flag part of it does.
It's the linesman, actually. It's not the
Yeah.
it's not the fourth
No, it's the
fourth
it's
official.
that's the
Yeah,
offside
see,
flag.
exactly. So I don't
Yeah.
even know who the fuck it is,
Yeah.
this guy, you know?
Yeah.
It's terrible. I mean, I agree with Matt that I think Toyin actually does try, which for a lot of you, I mean, a lot of guys like play it safe, but Toyin at least does something. And we're actually critiquing him because of the fact that he actually does try.
Yeah,
Like,
and
like, give us like,
listen to what we're saying. We're
yeah,
not like telling him to throw his camera in the Thames, right? We're just saying this doesn't work. Here's why it doesn't work. Now go back out there and try it again. Like that's the worst that you're gonna get, right? This picture isn't good. It doesn't tell the story. Here's why it doesn't tell the story. Now go tell the story. It shouldn't be like there shouldn't be that kind of hesitation to to try different things and to get out of your comfort zone.
really, honestly, like that. The worst you want really from training guys, okay, whatever about your picture. Like indifference is the worst. But that's not what you want to strive for. You want to strive for like, okay, you did try, it didn't work out, and here's the reason why it didn't work out. So just wanting to let you know. All right. Kevin Sosa, it's a reflection. I don't know. I don't like this one. Like, I understand what he wanted to do, but I have to kind of like, it's the same thing. Like, if I have to like think for like more than 2 seconds, like what is going on or what is significant, or what is interesting about it, then for me, like the pictures really just fail, you know?
Yeah, I don't like this. I don't like it, but I do think that if somebody said, go get me 30 pictures from this game, that this would be okay.
I don't know. Really? Like the more I look at it, it's like, okay, so it's a reflection. So what? Like it's one of those things like, we always say like if the guy's actually doing something quite spectacular, that's really what you really want. If you're doing a bit of like a kind of creative thing, you just don't want a guy just standing here when they have a guy doing something quite athletic.
Yeah, I in general, like if it was just a picture of him, I get it. I like how his reflection fits in, especially with the faces that are like above his helmet. I just like how that looks. Like I don't.
But it blends in too much to me, It really doesn't stand out.
Maybe this picture, maybe post-processing is the answer on this one, to like make the details pop out a little bit more. I don't know. Whenever you get into a conversation like that, it's not a good picture, right? Whenever you're talking about how you can crop it differently to save it or make it black and white or, boost the definition or something like, you've already lost. You're at that point, you're just doing damage control. So that proves the point that this isn't a good picture. My point is that it's better than Toyin's.
And for sure.
There is an X where this is part of X number of pictures, right? There are no X that either of Toyin's pictures would have been in that group. There is a number. I don't know. Maybe it's not 30, maybe it's 50 or something like that. But there is a number where if you had those pictures of this game and put this one in it, it would be okay. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
It's a low bar. That is a low bar.
Yeah, it is a very low bar. Ryan Tannehill. He's now a photographer. He doesn't quarterback for the Miami Dolphins anymore.
All those knee injuries really just derailed his career. Yeah. So the good, right? We'll start with the good. It's thoughtfully composed.
It is. Yeah, they'll give you that.
So we've seen pictures like this that were sloppily composed, and there's really nowhere to even start with it, right? You just look at it, you're like, what is this? What am I doing? There's nothing. There's no peg even. So what I would say is you had the right lens on, and you were the right distance away, and you decided that you didn't need all of the umpire to show that the umpire was there, and that you didn't feel the need to fit the batter in. Although you did get like part of the toe in there, which isn't good. So it's, you know, it's parallel, it's perpendicular. There's enough there. There's enough empty space. You know, you have the beginnings of something there, right? But really what you have the beginnings for is a play at the plate, you know, like a slide into the catcher or something like that. Because this isn't interesting. When, you know, the pitcher is going to throw 70, 80, 100 pitches a game between the two of them, that's going to be, you know, 100 and whatever, 80 pitches, 100, 200 pitches. It just keeps happening, right? So this is common and it's not interesting. And you just don't have anything. There's not enough there. There's nothing balancing the picture. It's just somebody catching a ball, not doing anything athletic, not, you know. So the only good part of this picture is how it's, you know, how it's framed, you know, like the edges. But then when you look into the picture, there's nothing there to hold your attention. So as a stepping stone to like get from being super sloppy to thinking, this is a good step in that. But as a, you know, like as a picture itself, there's nothing here, and you would have to know that.
I mean, like, I would like to have actually seen the ball a bit further, you know, so you can kind of like see like it's going into the mitt. My eyes also kind of wander off to the umpire who's sitting behind him, her, sorry. And just kind of overall, I don't like, I like the idea. I like the idea. I like what he was going for, but it just kind of lacks a bit of creativity.
There's just not enough content in the picture.
No, yeah. You know, like it's everything's kind of going well, and like from this angle, if this is a shot that you actually wanted, you got it. But it just kind of becomes, for me, it's like, okay, it's just so what, you know? So like, what else do I have to look into this? Like, you know, it's just nothing more to it other than a woman catching a ball. That's it, you know? All right, moving on. By the way, if you've actually probably thought about this, is that, I don't even know what. I mean, if you actually have your like training ground photos like earlier on, we tend to start from the ones that were submitted first. So if you want to like have your, you know, and then as we go on with this, we get tired. And as we get tired, we get a bit sloppy with our critique because, you know, there's so much shit you can actually take in one day. So if you want to like kind of have your like stuff talked about a lot more, you should do it like earlier, so we have a lot of energy and we talk a lot about it then towards the end of it. Just a tip. I just realized that as well. What is that?
So this is a barrel racing picture.
It's too foggy. It's too foggy. It's too dark.
Wow.
I think he said something. You might see like what he said about it. He said something about it.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. Because I flubbed the weather assignment and probably just want to. Yep, you did. It's 2 in a row. All right. Okay.
So, oh man. All right. Barrel racing. The gist of it is, it's a horse race. It's just, you have to have a fast horse, but the horse also has to be able to turn in a clover leaf kind of pattern around barrels. And you can't be in the middle, so you're restricted to being along the outside. And wherever you're going to be, there's going to be at points in the race where the person who's riding the horse is going to be on the other side of the barrel as you are. And in general, I don't like to have pictures of where the barrel is the closest thing to me and the horse is on the other side of it. So when it's at the far barrel, I just don't shoot it. And you can still shoot it. You know, that's fine. But if this was the picture that you were looking for, then, you know, if you recognize, okay, the light is really, you can tell the light is good here. You can tell that there was definitely something to work with here. You can just tell by how it's hitting her hat in the front and it's not hitting her hat in the back, that the sun was pretty low, right? This is good light. This is where you want to shoot. And it was a dry arena. So the arenas that I shoot, they bring a water truck around and they water it down so that I don't really get a whole lot of dust unless it's really hot and really dry. So when you have a combination of light like this and dust flying up like this, that's like, that should make your mouth water. And that's what we live for. That's the whole ball game is right here. Like there's a million things that you could do to this. You could shoot into the light, you could shoot across the light, you could underexpose to just get the very highlights of everything. You know, you could expose for the dust and make the picture about the dust and have the rider just kind of be in the background. You could even focus just on the dust and have the rider be out of focus in the background. But I can tell you that nothing good is going to happen when you're shooting from this far away with things in between you and the subject. It's just not a good, it's not a good recipe for it. Again, you know, go and listen to the, I guess I'll have to tweet these out, but I've been doing critiques one by one for the students who took my workshop. And one of the things that we talked about a lot was controlling the distance between you and the subject, and then also the subject to the background. And you want to be close to the subject and you want the background to be far away. So, you know, right off the bat, you want to get to where you can be closest to this and also take advantage of the light and the dust. And it just doesn't seem like this was the way to do that. Beyond that, you know, picture the barrel, the object is to get around the barrels without knocking them down, because that's a penalty. So when you're, you know, if you're taking a picture and the barrel knocking down, it's like really dramatic and it's, you know, bouncing up and it has its own, you know, like there's dust just because of the barrel or something like that, then we can talk about it. But when it's just a barrel laying on the ground, this picture becomes, oh yeah, that sucks for her. You know, it's not, I'm not saying that you can't shoot down barrels, but they have to add to the picture. Not, you know, this is like taking a picture of a wide receiver standing next to a ball on the ground. Like it's clear that he didn't do his job. And that's okay too if he's giving you something, like if he's upset about it, or if he's pointing at the ball, or if he's clapping his hands or something like that. But she's still going through the pattern. She didn't stop and look down at the barrel, right? She's still doing it. So the only thing that is out of place here is that the barrel's down, and that's not interesting by itself. So the first thing is control your distances. The second thing is recognize when you're in a situation like this with this light and this dust, because you need to do things that are only about that light and that dust, because it's rare. And if you get to shoot like this all the time, then I want to see better pictures than this all the time.
I mean, like the only thing, like I don't know like much about barrel racing, but only thing that I really see over here are, you know, dust and light. And I think he underexposed it by quite a bit to like get the light onto the dust, and it didn't really happen. It just looks like it just wasn't the right angle.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, like the composition doesn't work. This could be fixed.
No.
This could be fixed from a exposure. You know, you could just adjust the contrast of this and it would be instantly better looking, right? It wouldn't change the content. It wouldn't make it a good picture.
No.
But, you know, you could boost the contrast here, let the horse go to black, let the background go to black, and let the only light be what's catching on her hat and through the dust. That would be significantly better, but not good.
No, because I think the problem still is the fact that it's not an interesting picture, you know, because like the environment is beautiful and everything with all dust and the light, but whatever is happening inside it, it's just not, it's just blah, you know? So that's why I think kind of have to work on, Ryan. It's just, you need to really kind of find really interesting moments. You're given opportunities to shoot something that is interesting in a very interesting situation, an interesting condition, the whole dusting and everything. You kind of have to be a bit more aware of like what you're shooting and how that could actually be interesting. Because right now it's like straight up just like shooting a horse. That's it. You know, there's not much action going on. Stephanus Ian. I think he actually did write to me for the Kickstarter thing. So thank you, Stephanus. And thank you, Toyin, by the way. I should say thank you for our failed recording before, but yes, thank you very much. I mean, there's too much going on. You know, I'm just looking at it again.
I'm
Yeah,
wondering
I don't
if you,
know. Like,
what if you cropped the guy that's standing? What if you cropped it to his chest and then to the one guy's head?
that's better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would actually be much better. But I don't know, like whether or not I could actually say, well, that's a really great shot. That's
No, it's
no,
not.
it's
But
not
here's
gonna
the
be
thing.
that,
It's
you know?
it's a higher, because there's more people in the frame and there is actually something going on. It's a higher degree of difficulty than two guys in a ball because there's four of them, right? And they're
Yeah.
not all standing up and they're not all right next to each other. So, this is a cut above all of that. Is this a good picture? No, it's not. But at least there's something to look at. At least there's something, like when you look into this picture, your time isn't wasted, right? It's ultimately not good. It's ultimately not a picture that I would want to look at again. But it's also not boring, right? There is conflict here. There's
Oh no,
the
I don't think it's boring. I
repellents.
think there's something going on. I think it's not, it's not very
It's
beautiful,
right. So how could this be better? The light isn't great, but it's also not bad. This could do with, some contrast also. Let the leaves and whatever go dark and, get the skin to pop a little bit more. I think that would be more interesting. But again, there's a distance problem here.
It's too far.
You're too far away from it, and the background is still like you would want to be half as far away from, keep the background the same, but you would basically have to be on the field at this point, or be shooting with a way longer lens, but preferably closer. So you nothing that happened this far away from you was going to be that great anyway. It just doesn't have the 3D quality that if something was closer to you, it would have. So, the timing is fine and the composition is fine. It's just you're too far away and it doesn't pop.
Okay, moving on. I've never seen him before. So welcome, Sky Emerson. This is it's a
Oh, it's a
flashed,
Truckee.
huh?
Yeah, I know exactly where this is.
Truckee. Yeah, you got it. You win. You win the Truckee Award. It's fine. I don't think it should be here. You know.
Yeah, I don't think it should be here either. The Here's what I would say about this is that uh part of this, like we see, like I would lump this in with those real landscapey
Yeah,
snowboarding and
it's
skiing
quite close.
pictures. So that's a discipline all of its own, and they have kind of a default aesthetic which is wide, to show more of the environment, and I get that. It's not my favorite style. Like, I don't like to look at a whole bunch of wide angle sports pictures in a row. Like, I need the detail and the separation and all of that. So what I would say is you're going to have to do this, right? If you're trying to do this to sell the pictures, this is what people are going to expect. And I'm not going to be, it's bad advice for me to say, yeah, base your business on doing everything that nobody else is doing. That's a tough way to do things, and it's swimming upstream, and it sucks. What I would say is incorporate what people who don't do what you do would think about this. Other sports photographers, what would they think about this? To me, what screams out at me is there's not enough separation between the rider and the background. So I get that you want him to be in his environment. I get that you want to show that it's not just him jumping off of a curb, it's him going, 30 feet, in a jump, which is way more impressive. And you wouldn't be doing your job if you had a tight shot of that, because the 30 feet is what it is. That's the whole point of it. And having the pictures in the background and the sense of place, all of that stuff is very important. But when you were shooting here, you were never going to get that separation because there's not enough of a gap in between the trees to set anything off, and the rider looks too much like the trees. So you're hunting for the subject.
I don't know. I'm fine. Like, Listen, like I think you know what I just said a couple pictures earlier. Like I'm a bit indifferent about this photo. You know, like I don't whatever. It's a photo of a guy bike and somewhere in the woods. There's nothing creative about it. Nothing. You know, and this is the type of thing that like I don't want you guys to like get stuck on. Just because you see like all the other photographers doing the same, that's what Matt said. You know, it's like doing these type of things. It's like that speck of dust of like whatever's doing like skiing or biking or all, any of these things, and this like massive environment. I feel like it's such a cop out, you know, because like I want to see. Yes, I'm interested in seeing like what kind of environment these people are performing. But at the same time, if you see that type of picture over and over and over and over, I'm starting to think like, fuck, man, like that's the only thing you can possibly think of doing is just going to do these fucking landscape pictures.
Yeah, at some point in time, you're going to have to put a portfolio together, right?
And just going to have that, and that's it.
Go, actually, let's do this real quick. Go to his website.
Here,
I'm just
Sky
curious.
Emerson.
Yeah.
Let's see.
No, it's right there. It's right there. It's at the.
Oh, is the website there?
Yeah.
Well, just think is I don't think it's one. Just look at his stuff
You
then.
can go to his Flickr too.
Let's just look. I mean, like this is better. Okaidi. I mean, this is better because there's actually something going on other than just a landscape and what. There's a light, there's a shadow. You know, that's a lot more interesting than the other one. And I think it's much more creative. It's much more thoughtful.
Right. And look at the separation. Like you can see what's going on because it's against the blue sky instead of it being against the trees. The hard part is, you know, finding a big jump like this where there's going to be a gap in the trees. Like, you know, that's a non-trivial part of what your job is when you're shooting something like this, right? Finding that space where you can put the subject of the picture so that it doesn't get lost. And yeah, that ski parachuting, whatever thing is significantly better. Yeah. I would be concerned, like the guy who posts the skiing and snowboarding pictures. I've never seen anything except a super wide angle from a whole different mountain from that guy, right? So how would you, if somebody said, show me your best 30 pictures, and you showed them 30 wide angle pictures that were shot a mile away or something like that, I don't know. That is super limiting, both, you know, creatively and career wise, because at some point somebody's going to ask you to do something else. And if you've only ever thought of how can I make a landscape picture with an extreme athlete in it, that's, I don't know. I don't think that's going to work out.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, because everyone else does it, so you'll never get noticed either. And I think that's one thing I don't really understand why people actually does the same shit, because like
2012.
Yeah, that's really old though.
Yeah.
Whatever. All right, but anyway, like just don't do. I mean, it's fine to like kind of learn how to do things, but like don't make that your style, because that's the only, you need to like have different styles in your arsenal, you know, because otherwise you're just gonna limit it to like that one thing. And sure, if you're wildly successful just doing that one thing, but you're not gonna be the first person to do these, like, you know, landscape photography, action, sports stuff, and that's not good. So I went from okay to no, your photo is shit. That's what happened in the training ground. That's it. This is the other one we talked about. Yeah. Simon West is a horse jumping. Badminton horse trials. I don't know what that really means. I think it's a place called Badminton, probably. It's not a, there's no badminton people.
No, that doesn't look like badminton to
me. Listen.
Yeah, I would just never shoot
the horse and the flag. I mean,
just never, just no. This is not the place to be. Like if you go somewhere and they say this is where you get to shoot from, and you see this, it's probably just time to not shoot it, right?
You got to go somewhere else. Like you got to shift somewhere or do.
Yeah, like every single time, the most important part is going to be ruined. Like there's nothing that you can do. No horse is going to jump 7 feet higher than this horse is jumping. and they have to jump right there. So that flag is literally always going to be in front of the horse.
Yeah, it's terrible. That's really just terrible. That just, I mean, you gotta throw it away. There's nothing you can do about it, you know? Okay.
This is significantly better.
Yeah. It was very hard to find the horse, though.
Yeah.
I had to look. And that's not good.
No, I like.
It looks like Lego, by the way.
I'm gonna. This picture works. It's not. It's really hard to explain why it works because it shouldn't. I don't like, especially that sign, that white sign, that's kind of like in the middle against the background, the building in the background.
No, it doesn't bother me that much. It bothers me more the fact that I have to look for the horse. You know. That's the only thing about like with me like that.
This, and this one would have benefited from more contrast too, because if the horse in that building were in the poles or whatever were the brightest things and everything else was significantly darker, the picture would read better.
So it's not bad, Simon. It really isn't.
I think this is a salvageable picture. I think that it was good that he shot from further away. It's good that he went wide instead of trying to use a long lens and make it tight. I like how the buildings are in the background. I like how the water is the border on the bottom. This is like this is a thoughtfully composed picture.
Oh no, I think it is, but like it's always going to be a problem when you cannot find what's going on. Like had this like the action been in the middle, because like it's really flat,
Yeah. I think that if this horse was dark against that dark building,
that would have been fine. It would have been fine.
No, it wouldn't have. That would have been worse. It would have been harder to see what was going on if the horse had melted into the background. I'm saying because the horse is set off from the background, that is what makes the horse easier to find.
No, it has to be like sorry. It has to be, there has to be a distinction between it. And I was thinking like it would have been even better that if you could actually like use the reflection more, I think you could have actually had the half of the frame as the water and the other half as the actual, whatever is happening on top of it. There's a lot of things you could have done, like, but it is something that like, if I have to like really, really look for what's happening, to me, it's a no-no, and like Matt said, I think it's definitely doable post-process, and have a bit of a work at it and see if you can actually make that isolate from the background. All right, James F. Is it a more reaction shot or is it actually like the actual action? It's too far anyway.
Yeah,
it's always far. Why is it everyone's? It's like like I always do think about the fact that we get all these shots, and I think like 80% of them is like it's on the other side, and no one gets really close enough to any of the action. Certain things I understand like you can't because it's just dangerous,
Well, I'm sure he couldn't get any closer than this. Like I've never been.
There are guys there. But... Yeah, I mean, like I just can't. No, but like just in general, like I don't understand. They're so far. Everything is so far, and no one gets close to the action ever.
Right.
And I don't get it. Like we've been saying for billions of years, get closer, as close as you can. But it's always the fucking same picture. It's too far.
So okay. So again, this was like. Well, I guess we should start by saying, we're judging this by our standards, by like real world standards. As a rodeo standard picture or whatever, this is totally fine. Like this is what it is, right? Mm-hmm. This is what professional rodeo photographers turn out every day. So I'm assuming that you're here because you want to be better than they are. I would really hope that's why you're here. What Ryu was talking about being far away is something that we tell everybody. People who shoot rodeo will say, but I can't get any closer. And that's partially true, right? I was outside the arena for years before I got inside and could do stupid things and get too close. And for a long time, I shot from outside, but I never shot like this. right? Because there's nothing that you can do from here. You are too far away from the subject, and the subject is too close to the background. What does that mean? That means that to get the bull and the rider in focus and to get the background out of focus enough that it's a picture about the bull rider and not about all of it, it's impossible. There's no lens that can do that. You need the subject to be closer to you, and you need the background to be further away. So if you're 10 feet away from the subject, you want the background to be like 30 feet away, 40, 50 feet away. If you're 40 yards away from the subject, you want that background to be 100 yards away. So it's proportional. However far away you are, you want the background to be even further away.
Mm.
So what does that mean? For bull riding, I don't shoot bull riding head on. A good bull is going to take like a couple jumps forward and then turn around and start spinning. It's never going to get more than 15 or 20 feet away from those chutes. And just safety wise, you need to be further away than the bull. So by shooting this, you're accepting the physics of the situation, that the bull is always going to be closer to the background than it is to you for safety. So what do you do in that situation? Well, if you were standing where those guys are standing, the bull is always going to be closer to you than it is to the background. And if you were on the side, then at least you have a fighting chance for being closer. But if you're going to shoot from the opposite side, you're just this is what your picture is always going to look like. At the best, this is what this picture is going to look like. That's not a good situation. That's like getting somewhere and realizing after the fact that a flag was going to be in front of your subject the whole time. Like, that's just something that you need to know before you start. This is never going to work. So you can continue doing this and be, what passes for a successful rodeo photographer. But if you're trying to actually get better pictures, this isn't how. Right here. Like, you have to be somewhere else. You have to, like I said, be behind the shoots, maybe shooting with a wide angle lens, or be on the side shooting with a long lens or something like that. Or, focus on shooting the horses that are going to very quickly be further away from the gate and closer to you, so that you at least have a fighting chance there. But no bull is going to run all the way to you. And if they do, it's going to be a really boring ride anyway. So the picture is not going to be worth anything. Control your distances. That's the next time you go out, that is the only thing that you should be thinking of. How can I get as close to my subject as I can while being safe and keeping the background as far away as I can? That's your only assignment the next time you go out and shoot.
I mean, I don't know. I don't really care. It's fine, It's nothing exciting. You got the people on there.
To me, it would matter. Like, I know he's like, this is ostensibly a picture of the one in the middle, but because he included the ones on the sides, the picture's not just about the one in the middle anymore. So having them be in kind of
not so doing anything motion.
Yeah. It looks awkward, and then the one's foot's cut off and both of their hands are cut off. You need to make a decision. If the picture is about the one in the middle, then make it about her. If it's not, then you need to get all three of them doing something, right? They don't need to be doing the same. It doesn't need to be synchronized or anything, but they all need to be at least up in the air or looking athletic or not chopped off, or, like, this doesn't work because the ones on the outside don't look athletic at all. And it detracts from the impact of the one in the middle looking like she does know what she's doing.
I mean, like what Matt said, like the fact that it's really about that woman in the middle. And for me, like, it's a perfectly fine not steeplechase, hurdles photo. They're jumping over it, great. Form, arm, everything. But yeah, I mean, is it interesting? Like, not really, And it kind of comes down to that. I think if you're shooting like hurling from head on, this is kind of what you're gonna get. And the other thing you can basically play around with is going to be depth of field. And that's about it, you know, and whatever action is going to take place, because it's more going to be like aesthetically, like it's just going to be head on. You know, you're just going to see hurdles, 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 and then people jumping over it. And whether or not that's kind of like something that you're going for, that's what you want to get, that's fine. You got it, move on. But yeah, like if you include those two people, I mean, it does bother me that certain things are cut off in a really weird way. The arms actually does. But I think the biggest gripe that I really have is like, okay, well, it's just not that interesting. Had this woman in the middle been just decimating everyone else, you can see everyone else in the background, and she's leading by 10 meters, it would have been interesting.
That's a good point too. Yeah. The fact that they're in the frame and they're, you know, relatively the same size as the one in the middle is another, you know, like you've left them in the frame, so you've opened the door for people to misinterpret the picture as being about all three of them. And then they're all, you know, at the same stage of the race, so size wise they're the same. So this picture is screaming, this is a picture about all three of them, but really it's a picture about one of them, and that's the mismatch here.
Yeah.
So and you know, to be really, like, I don't even know if this is possible, because what are the hurdles? What's the longest hurdles? 110?
Yeah.
I think 110 is the longest, right?
Yeah.
So
no,
there's
longest
never
is 400. That's the longest one. 110 is the short distance one. That's a sprint.
The 400 hurdles don't look like this though.
No, it doesn't, because they don't have this many in the single row like this.
Right.
One.
So the point of it is that whoever is winning this race is never going to be that far ahead of whoever is not winning the race, right?
No.
It's not long enough to have that kind of separation here. So I don't even know how you would do a picture where you were showing, you know, multiple people, but only trying to make the picture about one person, because they're all going to be relatively the same distance from you and the same size. And
yeah, but essentially you really can't do it, you know?
Yeah.
So we need to like find another way to shoot it. That's kind of how it will boil down to from the side.
I mean, if it was a close race, right, then they would all be going over the hurdle at, you know, more or less the same time.
Yeah.
And then you could have a picture of all three of them.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work like this. Like
no.
the other two would have to be like 3 hurdles behind. And it probably happens at high school. Like there's going to be some gifted athletes and some people who are just filling out the team, but I just don't know if that's enough either. So you would want to, you know, have it be a close race and have them all be in the air at the same time.
Tougher hurdles. Yeah, so like I saw this like Wilson Newman racing person. I guess his name is Wilson Newman. So he's got all these stats, and I was like, okay, all right, we'll have a look. And they're both fucking disasters. Like really, like I think this is a less of a disaster than this one. This one is just a fucking train wreck of a photo. So, which one do you want to talk about? This semi-train wreck, or this complete catastrophe of a train wreck?
Yeah,
there's two. Yeah, there's two of them.
I don't know what was supposed to happen, you know, like from this angle, starting out. They said go shoot from here. You said go shoot from here.
So. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out like what you thought was going to happen here that you were going to have like a good angle on. Like I would look at this and say, okay, is there a ramp, you know, that somebody's going to be jumping over in a car that's going to get them far enough in the air that I could get something from here? Or am I going to be, you know, like,
but he's 15, quite high up.
Yeah, like right, 15 or 20 degrees higher than what you're shooting. Like that's not high enough to be interesting, and it's not low enough to be interesting. You're just caught in the middle. Everything is going to look as pedestrian as it possibly can. It's just going to look like TV angles. You know, there's no authorship here. Like it's funny that the website is craft the capture, because there's no crafting going on here. This is just go shoot from here and pretend that the angle is not bad and, you know, hope for the best. Like there's just nothing was going to happen here. Maybe a spectacular crash, but even then you wouldn't have the best angle on it. The best angle would still be lower at that point. So yeah, I understand there's restrictions, but if the restrictions lead you to this being the only option, then it's definitely not worth shooting this.
Like, who the fuck faved this? Four people faved. And see, that's really bad. Like, in what world would you actually say, this is a great photo? Like maybe the parents of the rider, parents of the horse? I have no idea.
I don't know. All I know is that to make anything, you know, more interesting than this, you need to be lower than the horse's head. You need to be shooting wide, or you need to have a really clear line of sight with a long lens, and, you know, doing some kind of really detailed picture of the relationship between the horse and the rider. But, you know, shooting like at a middle angle like this with a middle lens, and you know, and you know, this off-brand black and white conversion. I mean,
oh god,
this is, man, I would suggest, you know, going back and looking at some of the other pictures. You know, look at
horse pictures.
Look at the other horse jump picture, not the one with the flag, but the one, you know, with the water and the buildings in the background. And look about how carefully that was thought out, and look at how the angle makes everything look more dramatic. And then look at this and
cry.
Ugh.
No, but like it's you know, we get once in a while like just total catastrophe picture, and this is how it looks like. This is a total catastrophe picture. And honestly, I think it's Tim Wilson. Tim Wilson, you need to get new friends. Whoever fucking give you 4 favors should be just said, okay, you know what? I'm not friends with you anymore, because you're fucking lying through this, or you have no taste whatsoever. Because you really do need to actually have people around you who's gonna be quite honest with like what you've done. I shoot football for my club. There's a football club that I belong to, and I shoot once in a while, like when I can. And I have my standards, but if I'm not shooting the entire team, my standards have to like I have like maybe I have like 1 or 2 pictures I really like, and the rest are like, you know. But I gave it to them because like they're in it. So I basically like try to make sure I get everybody. So it's more like, yeah, it's more like just basically being nice. So do I like the pictures that I actually give them? No, I really don't. But they're happy, and they're saying thank you, that's awesome, like it's great, and I really love it. And it's like, well, I don't, you know, but as long as you love it, it's fine. But that's the extent that I would actually put forth any of the things, and like cringe sometimes when they post on Facebook. And it's like, oh my god, not that one. Or they fucking crop it to a point. It's like it's not even, it's indistinguishable like what actually you know was supposed to be. That I understand. I understand, like I have my standards, and they're just there because you're my friends, and you know they thank me for actually taking pictures of them. But in your case, like, man, like even for, yeah, it's just not good at all. So hopefully you're listening to what Matt said, and I want you to make some adjustments to your photography skills and your decision making, and really knowing like what you think is actually a good photo and what is actually a good photo. Because like, you know, I think it's very important to learn new skills and get good at something, but you also need to be able to actually see for yourself, man, that's a shit photo. That's a really shit photo for absolutely no reason. I haven't tried anything new. It's just plain ass shit. And this is exactly that. So just want to let you know. It's a guy throwing a ball. Or about to throw a ball. It's terrible. Oh man, it's basketball. Basketball's got so many different like things that goes on that like I just shot one recently, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on, even at like high school level. And I can't believe this is the one shot that he could actually do. It's a guy fucking putting a ball inbound. That's not good.
I think that, okay, I guess this is the hard part. There are things like lessons that I learned long enough ago that I don't think about learning the lesson. I just assume that I've always known it. you have to, everybody needs to be more mindful about your backgrounds and about where you're standing in relation to the subject and what that means for the background. There's a version of this picture, mostly where you're directly behind him, where there's not going to be anything for a little while. Like there's going to be air until you get to the ceiling, which is going to be far enough away. But what you've done by standing here is you've opened up all this space in between. Like if you were standing behind him, there's no space in between him and the opponent. They're covering each other, or the guy in the red is covering up the guy in the white. What you've done by going to the side is you've opened up this space in between them. And what does that bring in? Well, it brings in the backboard and the thing that attaches the backboard to the ceiling and the hoop, and a lot of space, off-white space in the middle, and a banner and fans. So instead of having your two subjects or one subject, however you wanted to actually compose it, in direct conflict, you've opened them up. You've created space in between them, which reduces the conflict between them. And on top of that, you've added in a whole bunch of other shit that doesn't need to be there. So I just don't shoot when I have a background like that, because I don't want to waste the time on it. I want to be moving into a situation, or to be changing lenses or something like that, to get me into a situation where I'm not going to have to worry about this. So for me, if I only have a wide and a long lens to shoot the far chord, then I'm going to move so that I'm directly behind this guy, or I'm going to, make a picture of their feet. Like maybe there's a cool angle between the guy who's throwing the ball's feet and the guy who's trying to block its feet, or something like that. Like there are other ways to do this, but when you're shooting wide and you're shooting two things that have this much space in between them, you're just letting all of the air out of the picture. I really don't know how to say that other than that, but you just have to keep the background in mind and what your position to the subject says about the background and how much of it lets in.
Nah, you just have to, like, it's a basketball game. Like, should people actually find better moments than this? Honestly, really. And we're not talking NBA, we're not talking college, we're talking high school basketball. I mean, like, how many photographers are going to be there? I think you can basically shoot from anywhere. It looks like you can shoot from anywhere you want, from where you are. And you're standing up, right? I don't think you're sitting down. I mean, you should just be sitting down. No, unless you're asked not to. Huh?
No, it looks like he's sitting or kneeling here.
You think so?
Yeah. Waist level with the player. The guy can't be that tall.
No, he's a giant. So look for a better moment. You need to look for a much better moment and just inbounding the ball. You just can't do it. And it's not exciting, It's not like he just blocked it or anything. Like, it's just about. So I don't get this. You did that and you can do this. No, I don't understand. I really don't, because I like this photo a lot. I think
it's really difficult to imagine that the same person took both of those pictures.
I really can't.
All right, so let's get into it, right? So look how carefully composed this all is. Like, look at the floor and look at the guys on the bench, how, it's perfect. They're in a perfect line.
So good.
You're using the whole frame, right? So his foot goes all the way to the left and the bench goes all the way to the right. And you have that line of ducts that goes, from one corner of the gym to the corner of the picture. All of that is so careful. And then the moment is so perfect, because just how those guys are lined up in the picture. Like, there's two one-on-one battles and they lined up perfectly so that you could see both of them. And then you have the distortion from the one guy being way closer and the guy in the middle of the frame being way smaller. I mean, this is genius.
This is the only thing really good.
The only thing that sucks about it is the light, and you had nothing to do with the light whatsoever. You just made the best of what you had.
So I can't believe, like, you actually did the other photo. I flipped over and I was like, what just happened?
Yeah,
because you actually made the bench actually do something, which is not very easy to do. In a basketball game, they sit quite close and they kind of become a bit distracting sometimes here and there, but like, you made it like it's perfectly
done. The impulse really I can't say that I wouldn't have done this, is to crop the
No.
bench out, right? And to
Yeah,
make
yeah,
it, to
exactly.
make it just the two sets of players, right?
Mm-mm.
So that's like impressive, because I'm looking at this picture and it's like, okay, what would I do? My first thought was, being honest with myself, I would have cropped it to the ball. And that's a way, way less interesting picture. So he made the picture and then he realized that it was better to leave that in. And this is the same guy that took the last picture. That does not make sense to me.
Just an example. Matt asked me like a couple of days ago, like he sent me like 3 pictures of a rodeo thing, and he asked me like which one I like the best. And the one I chose is the picture that basically filled the frame from the upper left to the lower right. And that's really important, I think, in, well, I guess like any photography, that you're basically you. But I know this is cropped, by the way, so I'm just letting you know that I just realized that it's a crop photo, but it doesn't really matter. It's what is really important is that like you really utilize the entire frame. It has to be used, and really the fact that like this entire thing is you from top to bottom, seemingly, it's a very 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 good photo. So we need more of these and a lot less of whatever you're doing beforehand. Like that's just let's just forget that we never even saw that one. All right. So it's very important. You stick, this is like a positive mental, thing that you need to be in your head. Is like, this is a good photo. You've done very, very well. And you should be very proud of yourself. And we don't really like, go crazy with photos like in training ground, because usually you guys usually send us shit photos, but this is a very, very good one. I think it's very, very good. Superb. I love the depth of field as well. It's really good.
It's fine.
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah, it's
it's not very exciting.
No,
yeah.
it's standard. It's good standard, but it's standard.
Yeah.
The see, this is good in that he's closer again. Look at this. Look how the subject pops off of the background. That's from being closer to the subject than the subject is to the background. I like how you can see both of their eyes looking at the ball. It's just beyond that. There's not enough else there.
No. It's a fair photograph. I wanted to actually talk about this one briefly. So this is like, first time he's shooting a final with all the things going on after us. Medals, trophies, winners and losers. Anything I could have done better here? I could see without the explanation, because I saw this beforehand. And I thought, yeah, she probably lost, because it can possibly be that she won the gold. I mean, they won the tournament and she's looking that grim. But I need, if you want sadness or frustration, it has to be a bit more clear as to why that's going on and why she's making that face. And probably you need to even probably search for people who are crying or doing something a bit more obvious. Because, same thing. If I have to think about it for a second, what's going on and what I'm looking at, it has failed me as a sports photo. Period. There is. And this, to me, I did think about it. And it's like, oh, yeah, no, sorry. They probably lost. And, she's probably watching the celebration. It's probably going on to whichever side. Things are falling and she's not looking too happy. But that's not good. And so I was actually like, if I had to think about that much, what you could have done if you're going for sadness, which is the best moment in sports, you have to be, and then it's this football team. So you have like maybe 22. So they could say this 14 of them played. At least one of the women would have been in tears, really, really crying. And I wish you would actually find that person. You go there and you get in. Doesn't matter if you got the access, actually like be on the pitch, I guess. When you get as close as possible and you get her, you get the expression, you get everything. And to me, like, this is like nothing. This photo that you actually took of, knowing that there has to be other options of this emotional response to losing, I just don't think this was the best option out there. Yes, no.
So here's where I am with this picture. If I agree that the expression isn't enough. You can't make this picture be about the expression. And the composition is a little bit weird in, with all that space above and no space below her. It throws me off kilter a little bit.
Mm.
I would, obviously rather this was lower and wider and, kind of framed in a way that makes more sense. But there is something about this. Obviously the silver confetti is cool, and the way those guys are lined up in the background is cool. Like there is like the germ of a picture here. There's something, but the composition is off enough to make it weird, and the light isn't that great. So it can't be about the composition. It can't be about the light. So then it really becomes about her expression and the confetti. The confetti was going to be there whether you made a good picture or not. So what I would say is you didn't use the confetti well enough. Like, that was the beginnings of a picture. You could do a lot of boring pictures in confetti, and it would still kind of work. And this one doesn't work. So I would be looking at what you did wrong, and it's the angle that you're at, and it's the framing of it, and I guess the lens selection. All of those things working together puts it just enough off that it can't recover from her not having an interesting expression on her face. So I guess that's where I am. It's, if she had a great expression on her face, all those other things could be forgiven. And if all those other things were good, the expression on her face could be forgiven, because you could say, oh yeah, that's, first of all, pretty picture. And second of all, I'm just going to assume that because she's not smiling, she lost. Okay. There's a case to be made there, but you need one, you either need the face or you need all the other things, and you don't have either of those. So it doesn't work.
Mm.
Yeah, this is straight up throwaway.
Yeah, that's throwaway. All right, we like to end on a sad note, obviously, because that's what training ground is actually for. If you actually came here by accident, this is Revocal and Matt Cohen. We have a show called Big Lens Fast Shutter, where what we do is we try to teach you to become a better sports photographer by one shitty picture at a time. If you want more information, please go to biglensfastshutter.com. This is training ground, so we basically ask people to submit their photos, and we just kill them if it needs to be killed. There are other much more positive, feeling things that's probably going to be on the website, where we have the podcast, which is the monthly podcast, which I'll be recording soon. And you should, there's a lot of like materials actually there for you to actually get started on how to become a better sports photographer. It's just a lot, like 5-6 years like worth of materials, a lot of thing going on there. As for the main thing, actually like a hub of Big Lens Fast Shutter, actually still on Flickr, not a Yahoo company anymore. It's a Smug Mug company. What we have over there is it's a group for a lot of really nice people. And I really do mean it. They're really, really nice people, very helpful people. And they are at, you go to flickr.com. If you then type Big Lens Fast Shutter, you'll be able to actually find the group. And there you can just see like what we are actually planning to have in the podcast, or when the training ground is on, all these sorts of things. So please go to flickr.com and type in Big Lens Fast Shutter, and also visit biglensfastshutter.com. If you're a regular listener and if you think what we provide here is absolutely fantastic and you should get paid for it, please go to patreon.com/BLFS. It's very easy. Go over there and give us money, and we will thank you for your money. Last but not least, I just want to say, please go to nohands2.com or Kickstarter and search for No Hands for my World Cup 2018 book Kickstarter campaign. I still need more money. Matt, do you want to add anything?
mattcohenphoto.com/workshops.
Yeah, so Matt has workshops as well. He's going to do another one. And apparently it went very, very well, the first one. So please go over there, check out the stuff. And that's it for episode 74 of Training Ground. We shall see you next month.